Sorry, Blazers fans, but I have to bring back this old memory for you just this time, so please bear with me as I explain. Greg Oden obviously was picked by the Blazers at first in the NBA draft in 2007, and it surprised absolutely no one at the time.
This isn't a surprise for you. Everybody knew it, and yet I saw you doing like this over there. Why were you nervous about it anyway?
I was putting on hand sanitizer. I didn't want to get Mr. Stern sick. You know, I'm here with a little cold, so I didn't want to get him sick. I had to get some hand sanitizer on.
You would think after saying such a legendary line that he would be destined for greatness. But oh well, it is what it is. Now Kevin Durant was picked right after him, and it's one of those what if scenarios of what if Portland picked KD instead. Now we don't live in a universe where that happened, so today we're talking about Kevin Durant, who was picked second by the Seattle Supersonics, and that pick ended up paying dividends in ways that we never thought it would. Now the Supersonics ended up moving to OKC and becoming the Oklahoma City Thunder after Kevin Durant's rookie season, and you already saw a kid in KD that had glimpses of greatness already in him at his rookie year. For a couple of years, you had this team being well below 500 and being very much at the bottom of the conference. Now that allowed them to pick up players like Russell Westbrook and James Harden and Serge Ibaka, and thankfully for them, they ended up making the playoffs for the first time in 2010, where they faced up against the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round. Now, unfortunately for them, they were down 2-3, and in the closing game, Kobe was on a mission.
Knocks it down again. Kobe Bryant, 16 points now in the third quarter, and 30 for the game.
They must have done something to make him this mad. I mean, look at him. He has no regard for human life. Now, the game wasn't over just yet, and this is where we get to one of the craziest endings of a playoff series ever.
One-on-one. Bryant for the lead. Misses. Gasol banks it in with 0.5 of a second remaining.
That was the move that made KD cry at the time, and unfortunately for them, the Lakers ended up winning that game, thereby clinching the series against the Thunder. The Lakers, on the other hand, ended up winning the title that year in a series that was an instant classic. The following season, they made the playoffs again, but this time, they were trying to win a title. They were able to get all the way to the Western Conference Finals where they had to face the Dallas Mavericks, and it was going well for them.
Mark Collison the rebound. Back to Durant. Bang!
Now they had to find out the hard way that Dirk was on a mission as well.
Spinning on Collison. Turning. Falling away. Oh, he puts it in!
Thanks to Dirk's efforts, this game went to overtime, and unfortunately for the Thunder, they ended up losing, and the Dallas Mavericks had a commanding 3-1 lead over the Thunder. They eventually ended up winning the series, and I think you guys know what happened next. And I'm pretty sure that was the move that made LeBron cry, as the Dallas Mavericks ended up winning their first NBA championship in franchise history, and Dirk was just so happy. It's so wholesome. We're fast approaching what this video is really about, but first we have to go through the 2011-2012 regular season, and that season featured a lot of interesting moments.
What a disgrace. Well, he has been ejected.
No Metta World Peace? No problem, as Kobe was still playing, and the rest is history. Oh man, the Thunder really know how to make Kobe mad, huh? Like, this is the second time. Like, what is going on here? But this was just a preview of what was or wasn't to come. Now we're finally at the point where I can say, this is what you came here for. This is what solidified KD as the Slim Reaper. A postseason for the ages.
The rim and he didn't put it up, and the Thunder win!
This is when KD and the Thunder began slaying their enemies, first by sweeping the Mavericks.
And that's it. The defending NBA champions have been eliminated in the opening round of the 2012 playoffs.
Fate does work in mysterious ways, as the Thunder would be playing the Lakers in the second round, and things weren't going so well at this point. But now, it was Kobe's turn to cry. The Thunder would end up winning the game and taking a commanding 3-1 lead, and this would bring us to Game 6, where the Thunder would be at home and they would essentially run away with it. Mind you, this was Kobe's last playoff game in his career, and he did have 42 points, but clearly this wasn't the same team they faced 2 years ago, and the Thunder were clearly the stronger team. Now they're right back at where they were last year when they faced the Dallas Mavericks, but this time they meet a new foe, a foe they never faced in the playoffs, and that's been historically great. Now they lost their first 2 games when they were on the road against the Spurs, and then they won both games at home after that, and it was a tight series up until this happened.
Harden for 3, yes!
Oh, I may have spoken too soon, as Game 6 wouldn't look so good for the Thunder. The Spurs were ahead by as much as 18 in the first half, and this happens.
Durant played well by Jackson all over him. But he hits the 3.
I'm pretty sure you and I both know where this is going. Now, if you thought that KD's pull-up he made against the Cavaliers as a Warrior in the finals was a good pull-up, have a look at what he does here to complete the comeback and get their first lead of the game.
Attacking team is the Thunder.
Durant from way down for the lead.
At this point, it was only a matter of keeping the lead, and after they did that, it was all over, and fanfare ensued as it was the first time that KD and the Thunder made it to the finals, and it was all thanks to KD's clutch performance throughout the playoffs. Coming out of the Eastern Conference, it was the Miami Heat winning a 7-game series to clinch it to the finals for the second time since LeBron joined the Heat, and they're a formidable opponent, the best team in the East, perhaps even the best team in the league. But the Thunder now have a chance to beat them in this first game at their home stadium, and oh boy, was it a performance for KD.
Durant for 3. Bang!
They ended up winning this first game, but unfortunately, the series went a different direction. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't honor and appreciate what KD did this postseason, because it was amazing. It was quite legendary, and obviously we all know what happened to the Thunder's franchise afterwards. Harden, shortly after this, went to Houston, and they never went back to the finals. And it's one of those questions that everybody has in their mind where, what if the Thunder were still together? What if Harden was still in the team and they were able to make it back to the finals? I talk about all that in this video if you want to watch, and I also talk about what the Thunder could potentially become with the young talents that they've recently acquired. And be sure to watch that video because I think you'll love it. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.